lovers, and welcome back to the Woodshed. Since we've done one of these that's not been an interview style, I've done the Woodshed Camp Excursion Extraordinaire, which was a guitar fiesta, if you will. We had some great players. We had Joe Bonamassa, Mark Lettieri, Greg Koch, Andy Timmons, and my childhood hero, Brent Mason, all on the bill. We were all spending 3 days talking guitar, playing guitar, and we had a very limited seating, which was great. It met all the guidelines and that kind of good stuff. But one of the most important topics we discussed that week was tone. Obviously, Joe brought in some classic gear, the 59 Burst. He brought in a couple of those. Brought in a Dumble, one of his high-powered twins. Brent was there playing through his old beat-up Fender Twin. Timmons had his rig, which is, for those that don't know, based around Lone Star, some pedals. Greg Koch was using his signature Koch amplifier straight in. The guy didn't have any effects, which was crazy. Same with Joe, they didn't use any effects. Mark Lettieri had a nice big board with tons of crazy sounds. He's a big fan of getting some filters and some crazy modulations and stuff like that going on. And then myself, I used a Bella, and I used a 412 cabinet with classic lead 80s. One of the things that was very interesting about tone that became a discussion for the weekend was the thought, Joe so eloquently put it into words. He said that you have to close your eyes and imagine a sound in your head and go get that sound with whatever gear that you have, right? And that really sparked a lot of thought for me, because over the years, no matter what I play through, I'm always trying to get this sound that's in my head. One of my students, one of the attendees, had a lovely Bogner Shiva, so I was trying it out. And actually, I really love the clean channel with pedals on it. It's kind of clean in the way that a Plexi's clean, whereas it's got a little bit of just a little bit of push on it, but also there's a chewiness when you put overdrive pedals in front of it that I really like. It really sounds good. So that led me to the idea to address one of the things that you guys have been asking for, which is,
when are you going to play through the EDH? When are you going to play through the diesel? When are you going to do this with this amp? When are you going to do that with that amp?
I thought it'd be cool this week to spend some time and record the same riff on the same guitar on all these different amps. The amps were ran into a Universal Audio aux. And here's a sticky wicket there. With the aux, you can change microphones, change cabinets. You can do all of this stuff. You can actually change the levels of each micro on a cabinet. It's not like an IR, right? An IR is like a photograph of like a rig, right? And then you can't really mix and match. You have to get a new IR. Does that make sense? Like IRs are like photographs. Whereas the Universal Audio aux, I can adjust the levels of each microphone on the cabinets within the software. So that's open-ended right there, because I think speakers and microphones play as much on your tone as the actual amps themselves. So the way I did it, I used one Greenback cabinet with, I believe it was the Sennheiser and the 57. I'm going to attach the picture before we start cycling through the amps, and you'll be able to see it. But I used the same thing on every amp, right? So with that said, there's certain speaker combinations I like with other amps better, right, than just Greenbacks on everything. And in reality, I don't even use Greenbacks, but I figured it would be a nice watermark for you guys to hear each amplifier on the same rig, right, like the same virtual rig. To answer the question that I know is inevitable, I like classic lead 80s. I like the Celestion 65s a lot. And then there's some warehouse speakers that I like. There's some Eminence speakers that I like. But I like things, I love EV12Ls. I like things really that are big and clean. I don't like speaker breakup. On a couple of the amps, you'll hear just a little bit of push. There's nothing wrong with your signal, with your monitors or anything. There was nothing clipping. What that is actually on the clean channels, the amps are running really loud. Like if you get a deluxe over 3 into 4, there's a little bit of breakup when you hit the strings hard. Certain frequencies will cause a little bit of push. I really like that. You'll notice that the Diesel's clean channel is like crazy pristine clean. It's also got the biggest transformer and the highest wattage in the power section. So it's like it's never touching any tube drive at all. Anyways, without further ado, I hope you enjoy this episode of the Woodshed, and let's just take a listen at all these different amplifiers. Roll it. guys, thanks again for joining me here on the Woodshed. Next week we're going to have my good friend Andre Nieri on, and we're going to do a little chat time with him. It's going to be awesome. Let me know what kind of content you'd like to see here in the Woodshed. But if you want the lessons and the licks and the Axe-Fx patches and the backing tracks and all this kind of good stuff, jump over to my Patreon. That's a lot more right on the nose of getting more lesson style content, right? If you're looking to purchase any of my tones from the Fractal, or if you'd like to get my music or videos or anything like that, that's going to be at andywoodmusic.com. Hope everyone has a safe week. Crispy high fives.